Welcome to Chris and Carlette Live, a podcast about life, love, and overcoming obstacles. Each week, we discuss the good, the bad, and the indifferent of life's interruptions. Now, here's your host, Chris and Carlette.
Keep believing, don't go stressing, keep it moving. God, we're resting, here to help you, here to bless you. With God on our side, CNC Live.
All right, y'all. Today is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice in it. Right?
We choose to.
Yes, we choose to.
Choose to. It's a decision. It's a choice.
So this weekend, we had an awesome weekend with, I guess it was a split household.
Yeah, it was.
The ladies and the...
It was so sad to see y'all go, but as soon as y'all left, we got over it.
We had
she
fun,
had her
too.
side of the couch. I had my side of the couch. We watched Christmas movie, chick flicks. We ordered DoorDash. And the house stayed clean.
That's all right. Well, me and Evan and Christian, we all went to a football game early in the morning at 6 o'clock. We had to arrive at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I think by the time we woke up, the game was over.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. We were suffering in below 30-degree weather.
You had him bundled up.
Yeah, he had on like 3 layers of clothes. I was
wondering if he could move.
Yeah, he could move. I just wanted to make sure he was warm. Okay. But anyway, he plays for the regular season is over with, right? So I put him in a little small league called FBU. Well, it's not small, but FBU, I think it's Football University. And they had to practice. They had a game up in Beaufort, Georgia. So where Evan, and there's probably about 15 players, and Evan was able to get in a lot of defensive reps, and as well as his main position is like left tackle, but at the same time, he wants to do more on the defense. So he plays some defensive end work. And so, you know what? Let's just roll the clip. Let's see.
This is what it means when you define cause and effect. Watch number 66, Evan Edwards, in the black helmet. Evan gets slapped in the head from his opponent. Evan shuts down McLean. Tennessee gains nothing.
Evan Edwards. That's not 56. Gain on the play.
Let's take another look at it. As Evan looks at the ball carrier, he works his way down the line to get the tackle.
McLean was the ball carrier. Evan Edwards in on the stop.
One more time. As you can see, don't provoke Evan to wrath, or he will be out to get you.
So that was our little Evan. That was the most impressive defensive game he's had. I mean, because they're trying to gradually move him in on defense. So I was very impressed with him and his go-gettingness, if that's a word. But so anyway, make a long story short, how we got to this episode is, I was reaching out to various people. And I realized that we had some cousins on your side, that have 2 children that are young men, and they play for Iowa State and Oregon. And I was like, well, let's call them to see about, should Evan go to these camps and, whatnot, just to improve on his skill and to meet different players and stuff. So I had this epiphany, this aha moment that she was there is Brian and Telaya Purchase. Right. Their sons, like I said, go to Iowa State and Oregon. And she was just giving such good information. I'm like, oh my God, we have to have you on the show. So I want to thank them first before we bring them on, just to their sacrifice. They just got off a plane to come to. They live in Denver. just to come to and get on the show.
And shout out to our bishop who just tuned in. We listen, when I see his name, we got to shout him out.
Bishop Wheeler.
The Bishop Anthony.
The Bishop
Eugene Wheeler.
Anthony Eugene Wheeler.
Yes, yes. I don't sound like I feel like I'm not loud enough. Can everybody hear me good?
You want to be loud? Okay.
No, I was just wondering. Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right,
yeah,
that's
you
fine.
should be good. There you go. I turned it up a little bit.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and bring them. I don't have an official bio from them, but we're going to bring them on the show.
Let's welcome. Let's
welcome
in the Purchase.
Yes. The dynamic duo. All right, Carlette, go ahead. I mean, how are you all doing? Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Go ahead. Can we?
Oh, we're doing great.
Good.
Good.
Great.
So Carlette, you have like so many cousins.
Yes, I do.
Yes, it's like I mean,
call us the Bebe family.
We
don't die, we multiply.
You have entertainers in your
Yes,
family,
we do.
NFL. I'm just like, what else? What don't you have in your family?
It's a blessing. It really is, and
Singers.
we give God praise. Mhm.
All right. Well, anyway, the Purchases. I'm glad you can make it on the show. Like I said yesterday, I understand that you all are tired. Probably a little jet lagged and excited. Iowa didn't make it, right? They lost. Yeah. But Oregon won though.
They did.
Yeah. So we were watching that game on Saturday night. I want to say. That was Saturday, the Oregon game. And I'm like, them boys there, they are fast. So
Yeah.
I'm like, but thank you once again for joining us. And so we had just some questions for you as we were talking, like I said yesterday. And just to start off, let's go ahead and dive into this. So at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that you had a daughter who is a doctorate in pharmaceutical. So you want to just tell us about her? We want to give her a shout out as well.
Our daughter Aaliyah, she's 26. So she went to an HBCU. She went to Xavier in New Orleans.
Okay.
And she got her doctorate in pharmacy last year, so 2023. And now she's doing a 2-year fellowship in New York City. So she's living in Brooklyn and working a pharmacy management track for 2 years, doing different rotations. So she's doing great.
Good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
The funny thing about it, when I was in nursing school, my instructor, of course, being a nurse, her husband was a pharmacist. And so she would tell us about the math that they had to take. And they still have to do math. They have to take math tests every so many years to make sure they're on top of that with the math in regards to drugs, basically.
Yep.
So can't run away from it. So
No, but she is doing great. And we actually started her out in sports too. So she probably hated us growing up because we had her in soccer, ballet, basketball, volleyball. So she did it all too.
That's good to know. Because I have Chloe in ballet tap. And she told me the other day, a couple of weeks ago, she wants to run track. And I'm like, okay, they don't start that to probably 5th or 6th grade or something? You all in 2nd grade. I'm like, where did you get this from that you want to run track? But I'm not, and she want to ride horses too. So all of that.
Yeah. So that's actually a good segue to the questions that we had for you. Like, can you share how Blake and Myles first got into football and what was their journey like growing up in Denver?
You want to go? See, as you can see, I'm the talker, but
come on, Brad. Come on, man.
But Myles started playing football. He started at 4 years old, but he got out there, and it was him and his best friend. And his best friend actually plays for Colorado right now. But the parents, both sets of parents, we were like, this is not going to be good. They were out there picking grass, blowing dandelions. And we were like,
Oh, wow.
we're like, oh Lord, these kids, we were like, focus. They were not focused. They was focused on blowing dandelions.
Oh.
And so they kind of just got out there and kind of just really, I don't know. Why'd you start? I don't know. Like, why'd they start with football? Why'd Myles start?
Something to do. We just give them something to do and just get them started. I wanted to start them early to see if they liked it, and they kind of fell in love with it the next year. I mean, they liked the camaraderie. Everything was good for them. Just get out there with the other kids and just get them acclimated to it. Just to physical contact. That was flag football at that time, so it wasn't. It was flag. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
he was a college athlete. So
I want to get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, he played basketball for the University of Colorado.
Oh wow. So what role did you all play as far as nurturing that passion and talent for football?
Just making it available for them, really. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just making sure they had the opportunity to be out there and have that practice. And, again, like she said, their coach was a former CU buff, and he played football and played some in a little NFL football, but he coached them from basically 5 years old all the way up through high school. And he also coached at Oklahoma State for a few years. So it was just, I mean, it was just something they just wanted to do. We just kept making sure they had opportunities to be out there, you know.
Gotcha.
Practice, make sure you get them to practice, make sure you get them in different sports. I mean, because they play a lot of basketball and stuff as well, but basketball, baseball, we try a little bit of everything. Soccer,
lacrosse.
Oh wow.
They tried a little bit of everything.
So you all lived, so pretty much the majority of you all's, life you lived in Denver. Like, when did you all move out to Denver?
Well, we met here. So I was raised here. So,
and see, I was trying to remember that too, because I'm like, now when she was a little girl and we used to see her, you know, come to Faith Temple or family reunion, she was in that I was like, and I was asking myself, when did she leave Gary and go to Denver?
Yeah, when I was 3.
Oh.
Yeah, so my mom moved to Denver when I was 3, but then I would come back in the summers.
Okay,
to Gary.
That's it.
And so, but that's a crazy story. I mean, my mom introduced us.
Oh.
So my mom introduced us. So we met here. So he had moved here when he went to college at Colorado, but that was long before me. And then we met right before my last year of college. But
okay.
Oh wow.
So what is it like? Okay, you have 2 boys, and what the age difference is? What, 2 years apart?
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay, so you got these 2 players in your house. So what is the life? That's really the focus. Because you have to, at some point, be like, okay, this is real. When did y'all have y'all aha moment like, this is about to be the life?
Well, I don't know. I always tell the story about Myles. I understood that he was serious about football when he was about 8, I think 7 or 8. And it was still flag, but they had been undefeated and they lost. And he was so upset. And I, as a mom, I didn't get it. I'm like, Myles, you played so good today. He was like, Mommy, we lost. And I'm like, but Myles, you played good. He was like, Mommy, we lost. Like, I don't want to hear that. And so I was just like, oh, okay. And then he was just so upset. He was like, well, if we win next week, will we be undefeated again? I'm like, no, like, that's not. And so I knew from then on, and my husband was like, just leave him alone. Like, just let him go through it. And so at that point is when I realized how serious Myles was about it. But I think we really, I took notice when other people started taking notice. And even when they were younger, Myles always wore number 5 growing up, and people would be like, your son is number 5? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's 10, like, okay. But that's when I think I took notice, when other people really started noticing. I'm so thankful for my husband, because he is the one who kept them out there. He went to practice. He was at every practice, like every practice he was there, and made sure that they wanted to be there. And it was never a push. Like, our philosophy as parents is to get behind what our children love and then push it, but not us making them do it. It's them driving the bus. And then it's just, as parents, it's our responsibility to make sure that they get there, that they have the things that they need, but not us wanting it more than them. We can't want it more than they do. So they always just, as they started growing up, they just really wanted it, and other people took notice.
You can't. Now that was good. You cannot want it more than them. That's good, because what if one morning they said, I don't want to do this no more, after y'all had invested thousands of dollars.
Right.
Because I think now we've been in it 3 years now, and we over into that, and this is just little league, and and this tackle. Evan has never done flag. This is tackle, and I'm like, I see it now. Yeah. Because I've seen 2 meltdowns for a loss.
You mean, I mean like meltdowns. Like,
and I said the same thing, but Evan, you did good, but we lost.
I should have broke their ankles.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just...
that just happened. That just happened, about 3 weeks ago? That was the one for this year. Yeah. And then we went through the same. And so I learned last year how he did. So when this year happened, I said, just in case they lose, don't let him walk off that field. Because last year he was by himself. He was gathering stuff. The other brother, I was in the car with the little girl. And I saw in the mirror him crying and people looking at him. I was like, I couldn't get him fast enough to get him to the car. So I was prepared last year for this year. They were undefeated until the end. Yeah. Last year. And then this year, they had only, I think, lost 1 game or something. But they lost to the same people both years in a row to go to the Super Bowl. So it was personal. It was personal. But which I think last year's meltdown was worse, but this one was bad. It was bad. I was like, and he's 11. But we started him at 6U. So that's Myles. Then we have
Blake.
Yeah, Blake. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is it following footsteps, or is making my own stride, my own lane?
Blake was making his own lane.
Yeah, he made his own way for the first couple of years. He did his own flag team, and then he did tackle for a couple of years, and then I think once he got to 4th grade, though, he started playing up with Myles. Mm-hmm. He played on his team. He played safety for him actually until he broke his leg.
Blake broke his leg at 12.
Oh wow! How was that experience? Like, Mom, did you like freak out, or like, my baby broke his leg?
Yeah, it was in a game. It was in a football game.
He got an interception and then got tackled, and it's older kids, bigger kids, so they kind of rolled him up.
Oh wow!
We didn't even really know it was broke. I mean, he was in pain, but we sat there through the whole game, and then we went to the ER, and it was like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So when we went, we took him in, and they were like, okay, we're looking at it or whatever. And they did all the tests. And then, so that was on Saturday. And then they called me on that Monday and said, hi, so we're calling to schedule your surgery. And I was like, my what? What do you mean surgery? And so, because he was so young, if he was older, it would have been an ACL tear. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
But because he was so young and everything is still real limber, so it just pulled away.
The ligaments are stronger than his bone. So just pulled the ligament off the bone.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he had to have surgery to repair that. and he was out of all sports for what, 9 months?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I didn't think that's when I didn't think he would play football again. I didn't think he would play after that.
Really?
Oh.
And then he took a year off. I don't think he started playing again at 8th grade, and he played a little league at 8th grade. And I was like, okay. And then that's when he had started stretching out too, though.
Oh.
So this is like really what I'm scared of. Like if Evan was to get hurt, this one over here should be a basket case. Like
Yeah.
Evan actually.
Yeah, he got hurt. He did. He did. And I was there, and I got out my seat and started headed down them
Well,
stairs.
he got hurt that day, but he.
When did he get? What happened?
It's coming out. It's coming out.
No, he's all right. He's all right though. Let's go on to the next question.
Well, I know about the dislocation. I do know about that. You didn't know I knew about that?
What dislocation?
In his hand.
He didn't.
Well, then what was it then?
No.
Oh, trust me, it's on. I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, no, but Blake has always been a little daredevil. So Blake fractured his leg when he was 3. So when he was 3 years old, he was jumping up and down stairs, and the last jump he didn't get up. He kind of limped away, and I was like, oh. And so we took him in the next day. He had a cast on for 6 weeks at 3.
Oh wow.
So Blake is just a daredevil, but again, he was like, Mom, like the pain wasn't that bad when he was 12. And I said, well, Blake, like, how's your knee? Like, does it feel? He was like, Mom, do you think about your knee when you're walking down the street? And I was like, well, no. And he was like, me either. It's fine.
Oh wow.
So he's fine. Yeah. So that, but Blake has always been a little taller than the other kids. But then when did he really just like shoot up?
Well, that was 8th grade. That was
8th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
So 8th grade was pivotal for him.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk balance. How are they? Well, first.
No, I still want to deal with like growing up. Did you ever give like your children dad? I'll call you Dad, Brian. Did you ever did you play football growing up?
I mean, I did in high school. I just played 1 year in high school, and then growing up, we played a little pee-wee football, stuff like that, but nothing to the extent that they've done.
So, because I wanted to know, like, did you give them advice on different positions they should probably play, or you just left it up to the coaches?
No, I mean, this is what they wanted to do. And actually, Myles started out as a quarterback.
Oh, okay.
Younger, and then just transitioned to a running back all the way up, because he's probably the best running back he was the best running back in Colorado up till he was all the way through to 8th grade as his grade level. And then when he got to high school, he flipped over to DB, what was that, his sophomore year? And Blake, he was playing free safety a lot, but he was like the smallest kid. Because remember, I said he was playing up in those years. And then, like I said, once he broke his leg, he sat out for about a year and a half, and that's when he stretched out, and he was bigger than everybody.
Oh, wow.
Bigger than everybody, and then that's when he ended up going to linebacker. But I think Blake he's won 4 state titles. He won 4 high school state titles here. Myles won 2. He went to 3 state titles. He went to his sophomore year. They lost in the championship game. Then they went his junior year, senior year, undefeated, back-to-back, won state titles, and Blake was on those teams with him. Then Blake won 4 straight from freshman all the way to his senior year. He won 4 state high school titles here, and then won Gatorade Player of the Year here. And number 1 player in Colorado his junior and senior year. And
yeah. But we talk about advice on positions. He didn't give him advice on positions, but he watched back every game. So once they played, he would go back and watch every game. and say, okay, you should have done this. You should have done that. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I was like, if you don't leave them alone. But now that I look back, those are the things that really shaped them and helped them to kind of see what direction they were headed. So he still does it. College, he watches every game, whether we're there, or not. He watches back every game.
Wow. And yesterday we were talking about trainers. Like growing up, what type of advice would you give us as parents, new parents to this, watching Evan grow up, or even people that are watching now, if they have, students or if their children are in Little League or what have you. But what advice would you give them as far as like trainers, and should they go out and get trained? Or I know you mentioned that you didn't use trainers. You just used, I think, the coaches, as far as trainers, correct? I could be wrong, but.
I mean, yeah, we didn't really go get trainers until they were in high school. I mean, it's really, you just want them to play. And most coaches, if you talk to a lot of college coaches and recruiters, they want them to be playing multiple sports anyway. They don't want them to play the same sport. They want them to play multiple sports. Okay. Now, I've been hearing that for years. And but we didn't really do training until, I would say, Myles' junior year maybe is when we started getting with trainers. And
I think COVID is when they really got.
You're right.
During COVID.
When you really didn't practice a lot, so we started doing training. But I mean, once you start being one of the better kids in your state, everybody starts reaching out and wanting to train and want to be associated with your kid. And you have to kind of figure out who's in it for the right reasons and who's not just trying to take your money and this, that, and the other. But we've always, like I said, we really didn't specialize in anything, I think, until his junior year. Myles started working on just being a corner, just being a DB. But before that, they would go to trainers just to be in shape or to get stronger. And that was just people that worked around the football program. It's nobody we went out to seek and say, hey, we want you to train our kid to make him faster. I mean, if you was fast when you're little, I feel like you'd be fast when you're in high school. Because that's the same thing you said about your kid wants to run track now. I told my kids, you will not be running track because I will not be sitting.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Hey, it's live. We, it's all right. It's all right.
Let me grab him.
What was?
No.
Brian, what was some of your when it came to, okay, so you have these top athletes, and I'm gonna leave it broad, for conversation, because there might be some other, individuals whose sons play sport. Our sons, our daughters play different sports, but when it comes to, those recruiters coming to look at your children in the high school, like what was that transition like from high school to college?
What do you mean transition from?
Like, how was it when, you get these recruiters that coming in, you have multiple offers on the table, come to my school, I want you here. What was that process like, transitioning them to a school that, because first of all, for us, it's like academics, football and sports come secondary, but how was that transition, as far as when it comes to, you want to pick the right school for academics as well as you want to pick the right school that's going to provide them an opportunity to play, does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. All the Power Fives, when they came in, all of them were, they were good schools academically and scholastically. So it wasn't really a word about the academics, because they know that was going to take care of itself. It was more of what scheme fit what he wanted to play.
Gotcha.
As far as coaches and who you get along with. We left the decision. We kind of consulted with them, with our son, but the ultimate decision is theirs, because they have to be the ones that's going to live there for 4 years or 5 years. And we just kind of told them, like, if you was just going to college, would this place be good for you? Because if God forbid something happened to you, get hurt, and you're just there for school, is this environment something that works for you?
Yeah. Were there any like red flags that kind of stood out? Did you say, "Oh no, we can't do that school" or anything like that?
I mean, the only thing the red flags we had was like weather. I think Notre Dame came in there. I was like, boy, you don't want to go out there. It's too cold.
Wait. Y'all in Denver.
Yeah, Denver.
Yeah, but it's not. This is different cold than in the Midwest.
Okay.
Not the same as out here.
Uh-huh.
But I'm trying to think. Ooh.
I mean, it was not any red. And I think the thing to understand too with all of these college programs is that they have required tutoring.
Mm-hmm.
So when any athlete starts, they have like eight hours a week that's mandatory for tutoring.
Freshmen, yeah.
For freshmen. So you're not getting out of that. I appreciated that Iowa State was really their academics, their football program has really good academics. They have rules to where, and I think most programs have it, but they have watchers. Like somebody comes there to make sure you get to class on time, that you sit in the first 2 rows, that you pay attention. So Iowa State, Coach Campbell, I applaud him for that because the program was different before he got there. But he enacted some rules where, no, my athletes are not going to be sleeping in class and sitting in the back. They, no. Mm-hmm. So most programs do, I think all programs probably have the mandatory tutoring.
Right.
So
Oregon has the same.
Because Oregon has it too. So they do make sure that their schoolwork gets done.
Mm-hmm. And all of them push that. I mean, they understand you're only going to have, it's only 1-2% gonna go pro, so you
right.
You gotta get your education.
Yeah. And most of them are on because Myles will graduate. Myles graduates next week in 3.5 years.
Wow.
So
and most colleges have them on a 3.5-year trek.
Okay.
To get out because they make them go to summer school every year, and they don't really let them off campus that much. I mean, Myles, they don't really come home. They're not really home at all. This is like a full-time job.
So they actually graduate with 1 year left for eligibility?
No, Myles didn't redshirt or anything. Okay. So his eligibility is done. So he played 4 seasons, but is graduating in 3.5 years.
Oh,
but as soon as they go to school in June, so like as soon as they graduate from high school, Myles graduated from high school May something. And I think June 10th, he was at Iowa State and he started classes immediately.
Wow. What, tell us the Coach Prime story.
Well, Blake was the #1 athlete in the state. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. And so there were rumblings that Coach Prime was coming to Colorado. This guy here said he would never. He said Coach Prime's not coming here. He was like, it's too cold. He's not coming. Mm-hmm. He just isn't. And as a kid in Colorado, I think your dream is always to go to the University of Colorado. Mm-hmm. And so Blake had already committed to Oregon when we got the call from Colorado saying, come talk to us. And so he was really torn.
Wow.
He was really torn to the point where he didn't immediately sign when he was supposed to sign with Oregon because he was kind of battling on whether or not he wanted to go to Colorado. But Coach Prime is absolutely what you see is what you get.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
On TV. Wow. And I feel like we were probably one of the first people to go and talk to him. He had been here for a couple days.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was 2 weeks or so before signing day that year. And I think we talked to him where we was either up there in Boulder or they were down here every day. Mm-hmm. Trying to get him to flip. So it was good. I mean, he's done a good job up there. Mm-hmm. He's definitely turned it around.
Yeah, I think they're 9-3 or something like that. Yeah. Did you have a question, Carlette?
Yeah, they lost to Kansas. So 9 or 10-2. It may be 10-2.
Okay, 10-2. Okay.
They won their last game, so they're 10-2. They beat Utah.
So my son, my oldest son, he's 20. He was able to play with Myles and Blake on the PS5. I told him to go see if you can play, you know. So he said, "Yeah, I see him." So, is that all a part of the NIL deals? And you know how, when it comes to NIL deals, like, do you have an agent, or you know, should we start looking at an agent for Evan at 6? You know, 6th grade. No, but go ahead. Yeah. How does all that work from a parent perspective?
Well, I think people are, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about NIL and exactly how it works. Mm-hmm. So when you first go into college, you don't need an agent. So the schools all have a collective, mm-hmm. That have donors that pay into this collective. And so that is their NIL opportunity, but it's not per se like, commercials and whatever like that. It's just the school has a collective that you have the opportunity to receive compensation from the collective. Mm-hmm. And then outside of the collective, there are other opportunities that you can do. Myles has had actually a lot of opportunities that the collective has presented him. So the Iowa Pork Association. Well, the way it started was that there were 2 kids sitting and somebody took a picture of them, and one kid's last name was Hammond and one kid's last name was Bacon. And so somebody was like, okay, they need to do something with that. And so I don't know whose idea it was, but then they pulled Myles into it, and they pulled a kid whose last name was Moore. So it was Purchase, Moore, Hammond, Bacon. And it was the Iowa Pork Association who did it. And it actually won an award for like the best NIL.
Oh, wow.
They had like 1 million views in like 24 hours.
Wow.
So that's also a part of NIL, but there's others. So the good thing about it is that they do have the opportunity to make money from the collective, but they also have an opportunity to do outside things. If, I don't know, a car dealership happened to call them, or, an airline or whatever, they have that opportunity to be able to profit off of their own name, which, was non-existent just a few years ago.
Or business or whatever. I mean, I've seen different things, law firms where they've signed with and give them $5,000 here, $10,000 here, whatever the case may be. Different things. I mean, even though you see someone like Travis, he's with AT&T or somebody. AT&T's with an airline. I know it's different things that go on, and those are outside of the collective. And I think that's more NIL stuff, name, image, and likeness things. But I mean, certain schools, certain states have a law now that some of the high schoolers are making money.
Yeah, that's here in Georgia.
And I'm not sure which ones it is.
I know Colorado can.
I know Colorado can, but I'm not sure.
Florida, I think, can.
All of them.
Yeah, I know Georgia just passed the law that they can too. Because I think Colorado's getting Juju, one of the top quarterbacks, from right down the street, Carrollton, from where we live. So, Carlette, you had a question?
I forgot it.
You said about how to balance.
Well, yeah, balancing. You have 2 sons, 2 different schools, and you're trying to support both. Mm-hmm. How do you balance that?
Well, you know what? Let me say one thing about NIL before we say that. His philosophy, which I love, he's always told them, your focus is NFL, not NIL. So yes, you know what I'm saying? You do have the opportunities or whatever, but you need to focus on the bigger picture. And I think that's the problem with a lot of kids now, is that they only are chasing a paycheck and not focusing on what your goal is. Now, if you don't think you're going to go to the NFL and you need to make all the money you can in college, okay, so be it. But he's always told them from the very, very beginning, like, your focus is NFL. That's where we're trying to go. So
Who is
that's
he?
important.
Who?
My husband.
Awesome.
That's what he has told them from the beginning. Your focus is NFL, not NIL. NIL is gonna come, but you need to look at the bigger picture. But Brian, tell them how we balance, how do we do it with the schedules?
If they playing somebody stinky, I'm not coming. Going to the other game.
That is funny.
Man, we just kind of split it down the middle. I mean, Myles went to more of his games this year because it's his last season. But I mean, you said we're 13 weeks in.
Yeah, we've traveled 13 out of the last 14 weekends.
Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So what did y'all do for Thanksgiving?
We ate at home and then we left the next day and went to Iowa.
Oh wow. Is that where Angela went? Did she go to Iowa State?
No, she went to the University of Iowa.
University. Okay. All right. Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Well, I want to say this. Going back to what you just said about the goal is the NFL. Say, for instance, they don't go. So is there ever the conversation of plan B?
I mean, that's where your education comes in.
Correct.
And that's important that you get a degree.
Right.
And that they both majored in things that they really do enjoy. So that Myles is his major was journalism, and I can eventually see him on ESPN somewhere. And Blake is majoring in business management, and so they majored in things that they liked and they could potentially see themselves doing down the road, because football is a very short window.
Yeah.
And so, the goal is NFL, but you have to understand that there has to be life after NFL. And that's where, like now, your agents come in, because then that's where they're helping to say, all right, you may go to the NFL, but now we're trying to help you figure out what life is going to look like after that. Already trying to figure that out.
Do they have, and you may not know this now, but do they have like financial advisors in the NFL to help structure, like, because I've heard that, once these players get in the NFL, first year they just blow out their money because they're excited, to have this lump sum of money. And, so I'm curious to know if they have any financial advisors or,
That's up to the individual. Oregon, though, did bring in financial advisors and made them available to the players.
Oh, wow.
So that was definitely a blessing, because you just don't know. A lot of things you just don't know. And so they did bring someone in. But I think as far as the NFL, I think that's the problem.
I know they have like a rookie when the rookies get in, they have like the first 10 days or something like that, where they sit them down and they go through all that with them. They have finance people come in and talk to them. People with the life after football. They do a lot of that stuff as well in there. So, but
they just don't listen.
Wow. So how was
I guess
right now I think, what are they, like 80% of them go bankrupt after?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something crazy.
I be trying to understand when it's the draft. Everybody got to have on this big necklace and this big medallion. It's like, is it real or like why?
That's the swag.
Image, society, swag. Kids. Myles is running around with a big old medallion on right now.
Right, he already got it.
That we have to tell a funny story. It got broken he had it for 2 weeks. And after they were celebrating he doesn't play, he wasn't wearing it during the game. Somebody else had it on. And they were celebrating in the locker room, and somebody came and brought him the pendant to him. And he was like, because somebody else was supposed to be wearing it.
Oh,
So
wow.
the guy who was wearing it was celebrating and didn't even realize he had dropped it.
Oh, wow.
And got stepped all on, diamonds missing.
Oh,
So
no.
Bent up,
Wow.
but
ship it back to the jeweler.
yeah.
Crazy.
So it happens. But I think that of course there's an image that is out there, and our kids have grown up in a much faster world than a lot of us, and so they understand that that's a small part. And yeah, go do the flashy stuff, but you don't need you don't need, even with cars and things like that. Some of them go for the fastest, the flashiest, our boys are practical and they both drive Teslas.
Right. Oh, wow.
They're both pretty practical. So that's a good thing.
Hindsight 2020, would you do anything different?
No, not really. No, I don't think so.
No.
I mean, they got to enjoy life. They've been I mean, again, you said something about balance. It's not really it's not a balance. Some stuff you just can't do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get there. I mean, you can't hang out. You can't do a lot of stuff that your friends do because you're trying to be the best, and somebody's always trying to take your spot. So
Oh, yeah.
you got to keep working. I mean, you might have to cut out some girlfriends here and there, but they'll be around when you get older. They're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So certain things that you do have to cut out.
Yeah.
But I mean, they live a full life.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say too. But it is a balance because you don't want your children to resent you. So we did allow them to do, kid stuff, go to parties, hang out with your friends, but you can't just be wilding out. So you need to go and come back.
And you still got to work out in the morning.
And you still got to work out in the morning. So it's, you allow them to be chill kids, but then you make sure that they understand the responsibility that they have. And, being a leader can go both ways. I mean, you could be a leader and lead people off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a leader, you need to be a positive leader. And so that's what we always pushed with them. So, I mean, it is a balance, and it's a fine line, though. It's a fine line.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give Carlette? What advice would you give us now that, Evan is 6th grade and this is becoming serious? And are any sports, any parents who have children that are in sports, what advice would you give them?
Surround them with good people. And that's another thing that we have really been blessed with is a really good village.
Mm-hmm.
People who are have been in this life. Blake's he was on an AAU basketball team, and his coach, she's a really good friend of mine now, but his coach, he had a woman coach, but she is the wife of Jason Richardson, who played in the NFL and NBA for a long time. But they wrapped our kids, and surrounded them with good people. And then the football people that we know surrounded them with good people. So it really is about not allowing your kids to be with the vultures, because you'll weed them out. Mm-hmm. And like the people who see that your kids are good and try to profit off of them. And so kind of keeping them in a bubble of good people.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I would say just multiple sports. But Myles and we growing up, we only did football for 3 months, and then we didn't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. We did basketball, and I think after about 6th grade, we just did basketball 9 months and football 3 months. We didn't do any other because they get enough pounding once you get to high school and college. So we didn't do football any extra. We didn't go on them we didn't do any 7-on-7.
No.
I was like, that's just flag football. What are we going to do that for?
Right.
I know a lot of people do it in Houston and Georgia, all the places, but
I think Myles did one little
Blake did.
No, Blake did one
in
7-on-7
Houston,
trip, and it
Houston.
was.
I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's more for quarterbacks and stuff like that, I guess, and wide receivers. But we didn't ever really do that. But I mean, and then I just didn't want them doing extra football anyway with the concussion stuff and all that.
Yeah.
So we did 3 months during the
Football
summer
season.
and during the season, and we just did something else. But I mean, like I said, you talk to any of these recruits that came in, they always wanted to see that they played multiple sports. That was a big thing with most of them. So
Wow.
that's what I would say. Make sure he's doing multiple sports.
Okay. Well, I know you all are excited for the potential, the opportunity to go to the combine and, NFL draft. I know you all are excited. So, us over here, make sure we get a ticket to any other game. No, I'm just kidding.
And we tell our family and our friends that, look at the schedule at the beginning of the year. If there are games that you want to go to, let us know. We've made every game available to whoever wants to go. So, because it's important to look up and see somebody that when they played basketball and football, growing up, one or both of us was there at every single game.
Wow.
It's one thing for your kids to play, but it's something else to know that your parents are there and supporting you, and they notice. Even if they act like they don't, they notice. Blake had a basketball game and I had to work. And so I came in late and Brian was there already. And so after the game, Blake's like, so Mom, you got here at 7:30.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, wow.
You were playing a game. Like, how do you know? But it's important to your children that like you're there. Like you can't, and this is time that you cannot, like you can't get it back. So that's why, I mean, people, when they were growing up, people were like, dang, y'all spend a lot of money sending them the stuff and following them behind stuff. But this is the time that we have. You can't get it back. And so if our kids said they want to go play football in Australia, well, we're going to be going to Australia and watching games, because to me, that's the most important part, for them to know that their parents are going to support them no matter what.
Wow.
So yeah, be there. Because as much as you think that they may not notice or may not care at times, they do.
Wow.
I will say,
and it's over before you know it.
Yeah.
Man, it's over before you know it. High school went so fast. I mean, Myles is done with these 4 years. It just went like that. It's been quick. So.
It'll pay off when you get to the NFL.
Yeah. It'll pay off for them. And what, you say something?
No, it's already paid off.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Just to see your kids thriving in something that they love, it's paid off. A lot of people you see on TV and they're like, I bought my mama a house and all that. And all that stuff is nice, but we don't expect our children to grow up and take care of us. Because we just are happy that they're doing what they love.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm with you on that.
Well, we definitely want to thank you for joining our podcast.
And people need to hear this, because like you saw when we had the attorney on, who is one of the moms on the team. Her husband is one of the coaches on Evan's team, but she represents these students with the NIL deals and stuff, and her. But people need to hear the other side, the parents that's dealing with this, that what the journey was like, what to expect. It is truly a sacrifice. My god sister now, her son, they literally just moved for him to be at a better high school, to a whole different state. I'm talking, it was a 19-hour drive. And I said trust me, he knows, he sees the sacrifice, but it's like what we won't do for these kids, because we want to see them thrive. And like you said, I'm not doing this so you can buy me a house. I got my house. I'm not doing this for you to do all that. That's good and fine. I want you to be the best you, reach your goal and thrive in it. and thrive. Now, mama going to be here to protect you from the wolves, the strange and silly women, all that stuff, as best as I can. But again, it's still ultimately your decision. But if I see something, I'm going to say something. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being the parents that you are. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for stepping up. Seriously, because you have to step up and make the sacrifice, show up, spend the money, be cold, be hot, be whatever. Be cold more than anything, you know. So seriously, thank you. And you also probably play the role of parent to other kids, but thank you. Thank you for being a role model. Thank you for being an example for other parents of the families. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for having us. We really appreciate it. I mean, it's we are blessed to be in the situation. I mean, this is a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have to decide which game you're gonna go to this week. You know, so it's a blessing. Parenting is the hardest job in the world, as you all know, and so just to see your children be the manifestation of your prayers is you can't ask for anything else.
Cool.
So
well, thank you so much for joining, and we
get
will
y'all some rest.
Yeah, get you some rest.
Get some rest.
Right. Thanks.
Until next week.
Right. Yep. 2 weeks of rest.
2 weeks of rest. Right. All right.
Yep.
Well, you all take it easy. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. There you have it. That was good. The parents, the actual parents of Blake and Myles Purchase, their name was Brian and Telaya Purchase, and that is Carlette's cousin. So
First cousin. Her dad and my mom are siblings.
Yes. So as we embark further into this football thing, and don't want to leave out Christian as far as embarking on his goals and dreams and aspirations, and Chloe's dreams, goals, and aspirations. We're here for all three of them, and just, allowing the Lord to guide us and lead us, and it's just, it's great just to see, Christian blossoming he'll be 21 next year, and seeing him blossoming into a young man, someone who can, be on his own. And then now Evan, trying to get him figure out what he's going to do with this football and how he's going to progress in it. And even Chloe is a little ballerina and all this type of stuff. But, it's exciting times, So I can't thank, Carlette enough to allow us to go on a men's outing to a football game. So,
I mean, because we're starting to experience where she has her things. So somebody has to be there for her. Somebody has to take her, and that's me. And we're noticing that, and you have to support one just like you do the other. So, and then they try to make it in time so they can see her in her tutu and doing her thing. So, and hear me good. And we're going to close on this. Evan wanted her to be a cheerleader, and she said no. She said, no, I ain't no cheerleader. I'm ballerina. Well, we thank you all for joining us. Thank you all that came on, watched the replay. And listen, like and subscribe to our page, and share this. Share this with parents who's have that up-and-coming athlete and trying to figure out what to do, how to do, and just to hear the story and to let them know it's a journey, but it's well worth it. We love you all. We appreciate it. Like I tell you every week, pray, seek the face of God, call on him while he may be found and while he is near. Okay? We're talking about Jesus, the one and only, the true and living God, and we just honor and bless him, and we thank God for you. And listen, say a prayer for your family, the government. It's so much going on. Your neighbor, even pray for your enemy. They need it. All right. We take care. God bless.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us this week on Chris and Carlette Live. Make sure to visit our website, chrisandcarlette.com. If you're on Facebook, share this broadcast. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our show. You may also find us on Apple Podcast, where you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. Let us stay in contact with you by texting CNC Live to 474747. That's CNC Live to 474747.
CNC Live.